portal is up and running, as you well know, and LSU's done a very, very good job by all accounts of accumulating talent and filling some holes. Question is, what's next? What is next? And I've been doing some reading, doing some perusing, been on the Twitterverse. You got the folks that are breaking news left and right, and I'm like a dog chasing cars. Like, I'm not going to try to break news here, but if somebody puts on Twitter that LSU's getting a visit from X player, I'll go look up that player and see what I think about that player. So at this point, here are the three guys that it feels like, based on the Twitterverse, LSU is sincerely targeting to this point. Braelin Moore is one you already know, and I think it's important. Braelin Moore is a 2-year starter, started 23 games at Virginia Tech at center. I think bringing him into the middle of the offensive line is a big, big deal. I think that frees up DJ Chester to move. I think it gives you a veteran presence in the middle, and it makes you a better offensive line. I think Braelin Moore is guy number one on this list that LSU is looking at. A new name has emerged on the offensive line that I had not heard until yesterday. I'm going to read that on Twitter. Let me try this. I'm making no promises here. Faal Ali, Fa'amoi. I believe that's what we're looking at there. If that's wrong, I apologize, but gave it the best shot. He's Washington State's starting tackle, and he's been at right tackle for a couple of years now. 3-year starter at Wazoo, signed in the class of 2022, did not appear in a game. He made his college debut at Washington State in 2021 and redshirted that season. And then 2022, 2023, 2024, he has been a starting tackle for Washington State. He stands 6'5", 314 pounds. He is from American Samoa, and that's a guy who figures to be a potential starter on LSU's line at tackle if he were to come to Baton Rouge. I believe they're attempting to get him in for a visit, and we'll see if that happens. But again, I anticipate that LSU is going to sign at least 2 offensive linemen in this portal class, and I believe, based on what we look at with this offensive line group and kind of where things are headed, they probably want to sign 2 starters on that unit. I think they feel good about Tyree Adams. I think they feel pretty good about DJ Chester as an offensive lineman, just maybe not as a center. The jury is still out on what they think of Bo Bordelon, what they think of Paul Mabenga, what they think of, Weston Davis or Ori Williams. I don't know. They've brought in a lot of 4-star players and 5-star players, and you trust Brad Davis to develop those guys, but you need to bring in proven starters and let them compete. And if the young kids beat them out, great. But usually the old guys hold down those spots. Ideally, when you go to the transfer portal, you want to get a guy like Miles Frazier that's got 3 years of eligibility. You get a guy like Kyron Lacey that can give you a couple of years. That's not the case here with Faal Ali Fa'amo. He's got 1 year left, but I'll take 1 year because LSU is assembling this team that looks to be more complete from a roster perspective than last year's team, and you want to be able to compete. So you want to bring guys come on in and compete, and that's what LSU, I think, is trying to do on the offensive line with Braelin Moore and Faal Ali Fa'amo. I promise you, if he comes to LSU, I will learn it. I've done a good job over the years of figuring out names once guys get to campus. Famously, you had Trey Leala'i Matafau, which I can do rolls right off the tongue now. This one I don't have yet, but I promise you, if he signs on the dotted line, the next show that I do, I will be able to nail that name. I'll go to the Washington State website. I'll find a pronunciation guide. I'll go to YouTube, hear him say it. I'll figure it out because I like getting names right. But if he transfers to like Penn State, I'm probably not going to learn it. That's just where we are on that, unless he becomes the starter. Because look, I can do Nico no, I didn't do it. That's so disappointing. Nico Iamaleava I can nail, but he is a starting quarterback. This guy comes to LSU, we'll figure that one out. The other one that I may not know the name for pronunciation-wise is Sydir Mitchell, S-Y-D-I-R, Sydir. I think I'm going to go with Sydir Mitchell. This is a guy that Bo Davis knows very well, 6'6", 320 pounds, 4-star when he signed with Texas a couple years ago on On3 and ESPN. Over 2 years at Texas, played in 8 games, made 7 tackles. But this is a guy from New Jersey, big physical frame, and a guy that Bo Davis has a relationship with. He's reported to come on a visit to Baton Rouge, and I'm all in for big defensive linemen. Just bring them in by the truckload. You just can't have enough. And I'm going on record of saying this, and I'm not backing off this at all. It's not a hot take, and I don't know that anybody that could possibly disagree with it, but I feel like sometimes you need to reinforce things. LSU's next great team, no matter when that is, next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, next time LSU's got a great team, their defensive line will be really, really good. It'll be a strength. It'll be a force that other teams have to deal with. And while I don't think the defensive line this year was just a crippling weakness, I would not call it a strength. I think, and I said this in the last segment, Gio Paez, Paris Shand, those guys deserve a ton of credit. Ahmad Bro for stepping in immediately. Savion Jones and Braden Swinson for elevating their games. Gabe Relaford for showing up. Like, a lot of guys deserve a lot of credit for playing, probably a little bit above their capabilities, given talent level and experience. But it still wasn't a strength. And you still didn't feel awesome when Texas A&M was running that read option stuff and LSU couldn't get a push or get a stop. So the next great LSU team is going to have a great defensive line. And I'll take all the big dudes that Bo Davis can coach up as possible. That's just the way I feel about that. And so if they can get Sydir Mitchell on campus, I think that would be a great, great thing. So the 3 names to watch potentially over the next 24 hours, Braelin Moore, Faal Ali, Faal and Sydir Mitchell. I think those are potentially the next 3 guys for LSU. And at this point, you're kind of out there with Auburn and Miami. It's kind of the leaders in the transfer portal this year. Certainly Ole Miss is playing in those waters again. And so we'll see how this thing looks. It's been kind of a fast-moving and exciting week and a half for us covering it. I don't know how ridiculously hectic it is for the coaches trying to get ready for a game, trying to get a signing class inked, and then trying to go get transfer portal guys. But it's certainly been a lot of content for us. So if you want to read about it, you can at LouisianaSports.net, and we're certainly talking about it every day here on The Hunt Palmer Show. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.